everybody. I'm Josh. I'm your host for tonight. And this is our chair project. Yesterday I did a little video session on the primer application. So I will link that below when I post this video. Obviously we're live right now, so I can't post it, but I'm going to kind of do an impromptu sand out on this thing. I already just started kind of running around the perimeter, and let's see what happens, right? So if you're into sand therapy and you like to just watch boot camp style work, this video is for you. Not going to be a whole lot of action except for going back and forth and making things smooth. So what I have for sandpaper and such, let me get set up here. Got to plug the phone charger in real quick. Dun, dun, dun. There we go. So what I have are a handful of sanding tools. I've got these are soft sanders. So they are profiled to different shapes and radiuses. And then I also have an Adjust Flex sand block. So this thing has just a little bit of flex to it. This one's got slightly more flex. And then for abrasive, I've got 3 different grits out. I don't know which one I'm going to use, quite yet. We're going to got 220 grit. I've got 400 grit, and I've also got some 180. There we go. Sorry, let's do the brand up. These are from Sia Abrasives. They're made in Switzerland. I think it says that somewhere. Nope, not on this little strip. Yeah, made in Switzerland. Very, very good. Fantastic sandpaper and adhesive. And you can find those at Express Composites. Shout out my homies over there. So here we go. Ready for some fun? We're going to try to give you a good angle, let you watch what I'm doing here. So like I said, fairly not exciting. It's just going to be boot camp, but I figured I would bring you all along for the ride, at least for a little while. The Duratec primer is a very, very high build primer, and it's designed for marine applications, tooling applications, etc., etc. And this is starting off with our 180 grit. I'm just going to kind of knock some of the orange peel out of it. I put it on very, very thick with a large tip gun yesterday, HVLP. So I just kind of want to take the edge off of it. Might switch to a 180. I want something just a little, or a 120 grit. I want something just a little bit more aggressive. I think. G-Man, how you doing? My day's been fantastic. How has your day been? I have a project car. Thanks for stopping by right now. This is Great at Customs, but I also have a project car YouTube channel called Project Honda Rod. And Project Honda Rod is a mid-engine Honda-powered street rod. It is at the dyno shop right now, ready to get going for tomorrow. We're going to do some dyno tuning and some dyno pulls, so I am excited. Let's see here. What do I got? I got 80 grit. 80 grit's fine. I can knock some of this down with 80 grit. And again, Sia Abrasives, made in Switzerland, good stuff. So I like to do these videos live just to show you guys real time of how it really goes when you're standing on projects like this. I'm pretty efficient at it, but it still is just boot camp, you know, it's not not fun and exciting. Let me change the camera angle up a little bit when I get you guys up on here. Boom, boom, boom. Hopefully that's working all right. Boy, we got a pretty good amount of people here right now. Not used to this live thing. So eventually this project is going to have a ton of mold work done to it and fiberglassing done to it and custom work done to it. So I'll show you the real fun stuff coming up here, but right now, boot camp. I really want to stick to the outside perimeter when we're starting our sanding here. And the reason why is there's kind of a good radius kind of right through here. And so I really don't want to go too far. I want to do the radius kind of last. You want to try to hit your flat spot stuff first and then come back and do your radiuses. Crazy Dirt Biker. Good evening, my friend. Thanks for stopping by, saying hi. I appreciate it. We're just doing some boot camp stuff right now. And these sanders have just enough flex in them. We're going around those radiuses and corners. Super easy. Super easy. Off the table she goes. Oh, it's a good time doing it live. All right, so I'm going to show you guys something here. I'm trying to smooth this out. I'm going through just a little bit on the backside, and that is the perfect time to stop. When I did this originally, I did a little bit of body work and Bondo work kind of all over just to kind of get out the highs and lows. And so with this high build primer, I'm going to be able to really isolate the highs and lows and get this butter straight. So I will put one more final top coat on it before I do the molding process. But right now you can see it's just barely starting to go through. You can start to see that orange fiberglass behind it. And that's my stopping point. So don't go any further than that. That's where your high spot is. So we're good. We're good right there. Don't need to go any further. Yeah, it's very crucial doing mold work like this that a good name for a boat. I don't know what the heck that means. Since I'm going to be making a mold of this, it has to be smooth. I do not want to invest doing a mold on this thing until it's actually, you know, ready for a mold, because any imperfections in the mold surface is going to show up, or any imperfections in our part surface here are going to show up in the mold. So we have to make this perfect, perfect. Oh yeah, this is looking good. I'm gonna be so excited, you guys. You don't even know what I'm gonna end up doing to this chair. After I make a mold of it, we're gonna be making custom versions of this. I'm kind of calling it the retro chair with modern flair, put it that way. So we're gonna end up stepping this up and doing some fancy paint coatings and paint colorings. I should have got a bigger table. Sorry about that. Fancy paint coatings, different colors. And eventually we're going to see some out of carbon fiber. So stay tuned for that. Pretty good. I don't want to go too crazy far. And again, the second I start kissing that fiberglass behind the primer, that's the stopping point. So keep that in mind when you're doing custom work like this. Who's still here in the chat? Anybody still here? Whew, sorry. There we go. so good. Yeah, this is getting smooth. I'm getting excited about this. This is going to be awesome. This is going to be super cool. I have to make this perfect because if I don't make this perfect, the mold is going to not work out right, and then the carbon fiber is going to look bad. So I have to sand this out to the best of my ability. And from the way it's going, like I said, I'm just starting to touch that base layer of fiberglass. And so that's a good stopping point. Once I get this butter smooth, I'll put another coat of primer on it and give that another block out before we do our full polish and our mold work. So stay tuned if you want to see a mold get made of this. Again, we're going full custom for paint jobs. It's going to be made in carbon fiber. Retro chair with a modern flair, right? That is butter smooth. And again, I'm just using 80 grit on some soft sanders. So these are kind of critical when it comes to finishing your product or finishing your project in the shop. I'm just gonna kind of touch on this a little bit. Yeah, I tell you what, these soft sanders are the ticket for this kind of a curved shape, where it's kind of flat, but kind of not. A lot of curves, a lot of radiuses. You got to have a flexible sand block. Do the same thing to this side. Yeah, it's all right. I'm trying for you guys. We're trying. Oh yeah, this is looking so good. Yeah, this is gonna be the ticket. It's gonna be the ticket. Boop, boop. Oh, that's looking good. I'm so jazzed about this. This is gonna make a really, 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 really nice mold. Change some paper quick. Still using that 80 grit just to knock all this stuff down. Like I said, we'll do a final coat of top coat after this gets blocked out once, and then do a finish sand after the next one. You can kind of see the shape of the natural chair coming through with the sanding marks right through here. Good looking chair. I'm going to switch to a different standing block for just a minute. Try to knock some of this flat down a little bit better. Great boulder, oh yeah. Thanks, my friend, we're getting there. Also switch some sandpaper out again. Well, that's not what I want. Yeah, it is. .80 grit on the soft sander. Got to get around those radiuses and curves. You know, I was kind of hoping that I didn't go through the Duratec at all anywhere. And, you know, I burned through it just a little bit here and there already. I always hope that I never burn through, but I always do. It never fails. It just is the nature of the beast. I always have to do a two coating mold repair system. So the first one obviously gets laid down. We block sand that out so it's butter smooth. Then I'll put a finish coat on it. I'll typically add a little bit of high gloss in that as well. So make it shine really, really nice for that mold work. Now that we're done with that outside perimeter where it was kind of falling all over the place, I'm gonna have to check out from you guys for a minute and throw the respirator on for the center stuff. It's gonna be floating around a lot more instead of just dropping down. We try not to be too bad around here. Oh yeah. Retro chair with modern flair. That's what we're going here. Sergio, how you doing tonight? Thanks for stopping by, saying hi. I appreciate it. This is the vintage fiberglass chair that we are doing all the prep work to make a mold of this and then eventually make custom versions of these. Carbon fiber, custom colors, custom graphics, you know, all that kind of jazz. So yeah, tons of possibilities with this one, but it's just a cool vintage chair, and we are going to bring it into the modern world. Retro chair with modern flair, right? Pretty cool. Going again with our 80 Gracia. Doing a quick little sandpaper swap out. Gonna switch over to the AFS sanding block. This is a Just Flex sand. It's a lot more rigid than that soft sander stuff, and I just want to kind of knock down some of these armrest areas a little bit just to keep them flat. Whew. Off the table she goes. And again. There we go. That's looking good. I should have got a bigger table. I'm so sorry. It's all good, right? It's all good. Reason why I'm switching to these soft sanders again is just to have it a little bit more rigid than the soft sanders. The AFS, the Adjust Flex Sand. These are just a little bit more rigid than these guys. So these ones are fantastic for in these tight pocket areas, but to do some of these horizontal verticals, I want to keep them nice and flat. We're doing a good job of that. This is looking fantastic. There we go.
We're getting there. We are getting there. We're getting there. Whew. Okay.
Yeah, so who likes sanding again? Oh, this is turning out fantastic, but holy moly, this is some boot camp. What a guy won't do for a custom chair, huh? Where are we sitting at right now? Almost an hour, holy moly. A couple of you still watching. I don't know how long you've been here, but thank you for stopping by. This is this is boot camp, I tell you what. This is a definitely a long project, but this is what it takes. This is the boot camp side of it. So if you have watched this long, I appreciate you. Thank you for stopping by. But this is the real deal side of the shop that not a lot of people like to show, not a lot of people like to share. So I want to be 100% transparent with some of the projects that we're doing. And show you the real life side of the shop, right? So we're getting there. We're getting there. I'm almost done. Let me finish knocking this out. You know what? I'm going to do a contest right here, right now. We're at the 1 hour mark exactly. If you're watching this right now and you hear the term Jingle Bell Rock right now, Jingle Bell Rock, you go down to the chat, go down to the comment section and write in Jingle Bell Rock. If you've watched this far, you deserve a prize and I'll hook you up. So Jingle Bell Rock. There's your sneaky trick of the trade prize. So first person that gets it, let me know. Hit me up in the DMs. Email me, whatever. But congratulations if you've watched this far. Guess the sandpaper's getting a little dusty, eh? We're getting down there. We're getting really close. And again, I am using Sia abrasives, 80 grit, soft sanders on the back pad so they're nice and flexible. They go around all these crazy curves really, really well. Whew. Retro chair with modern flair. That's got a ring to it, doesn't it? You gotta do this boot camp though. Since I'm making the mold and planning on reproducing these, it has to be perfect. It has to be butter smooth. And it's so much nicer than it was when it started. It wasn't terrible, but you know, these vintage chairs aren't perfect. So a little bit of Bondo work, a little bit of primer work, a lot of block sanding. And I should be ready to put a second coat on this, maybe tomorrow, maybe Saturday. Do like a final pass, and then we'll block that out one more time. We'll polish that, build some mold flanges, and then build a mold for our custom versions. You know, the carbon fiber and fancy paint jobs and all that kind of fun jazz. So, whew, we're getting there. We are getting there.
Let's do this one real quick. Okay.
That was a session. Holy moly. Holy moly, that was a session. Whew. You can see she's looking pretty darn good at this point. Hour and 20 minutes since we went live. Wow. There we go. Pretty darn all right. That's gonna be ready for one more final top coat, kind of a finish sand. The next top coat's gonna go down as smooth as I can possibly get it, just so it's, I don't need to resand anything, but we got all the little pinholes, we got all the little divots. This is gonna make a nice mold. I tell you what, this is gonna be a very, very, very nice mold, I think, so. Woo. With that, this duck is out of here. Have a wonderful night. Catch you guys all later.